My ex-mother-in-law sent me a wedding invitation with a handwritten note that said, "Come see what a real wife looks like." So I showed up with my 5-year-old daughter. The wedding lasted 12 minutes before the bride walked out. Let me back up. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday. Lauren, my assistant, walked into my office holding this thick cream envelope like it was radioactive. "Samara," she said, "some guy downstairs made me sign for this. Certified mail." He acted like he was delivering state secrets. I saw the return address. Pierce Estate, Charlotte. My stomach dropped. Lauren's face changed. "Oh. That Pierce. Yeah. That one." She hovered near the shredder. "Say the word." 5 years ago, I would have said it. Would have pretended I didn't care, then cried in my car. Now, I just stared at it. The envelope was expensive. Heavy paper that screamed, "We have generational wealth and the audacity to match." Then I smelled it. Margot's perfume, bleeding through the seal. Lauren leaned in. "Want me to open it with gloves?" "No. If they're going to insult me, I want the full experience." I opened it. Gold foil. Letterpress. A watercolor illustration of the Pierce estate. "Spencer Pierce and Elizabeth Fletcher request the honor of your presence." For half a second, my brain tried to pretend this was normal. Then I saw the smaller card tucked behind it. Handwritten. Margot's elegant, knife-edge handwriting. "Come see what a real wife looks like." Lauren made this sound between a gasp and a growl. Oh my God. My stomach twisted. The old version of me would have disappeared. But I'm not that woman anymore. Margot didn't send this because she wanted me there. She sent it because she wanted me at home, alone, imagining it, while I stayed the shameful footnote. Lauren said, "You don't have to go." I know. Instead, I pulled out my phone and clicked accept on the RSVP link. Lauren's eyebrows shot up. "Samara. I'm going. And I'm bringing Ruby." Lauren's mouth fell open. "Your daughter." "My 5-year-old daughter." She stared at me. "So we're not going to sit quietly near the bathroom?" I smiled. "No. We're going to be polite." Lauren narrowed her eyes. Aggressively. "Exactly. I met Spencer Pierce when I was 25, working double shifts at a waterfront restaurant in Charlotte. He walked in with his finance bros, celebrating something involving the word portfolio. He wasn't loud or flashy. Just polished. Steady eye contact. The kind of guy who makes you feel seen. He asked my name. Actually listened. Tipped well. Came back the next week. Then the next. When he asked me out, it felt like relief. For a while, it was good. Spencer took me to nice places, but also came to my tiny apartment and ate takeout like a normal person. He remembered things. Held my hand. I didn't realize he was carefully managing my exposure to his family like I was an allergen. First time I asked about his mom. She can be intense. How intense? She cares. That was his favorite word for her. Not controls. Not dominates. Cares. The first time I went to the Pierce estate, the house wasn't cozy. It was curated. Like Joy needed committee approval. Margot came down the staircase in pearls. Kissed Spencer's cheek, held his face like she was checking for damage. Then turned to me. "So you're Samara," she said, stretching my name out. "Yes. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Pierce." "Oh. Please. Margot." Translation, I'm going to be in your life forever. "What do you do, dear?" "I work in marketing." Her eyes flicked to my shoes and back. How modern. I smiled because I didn't understand what was happening yet. Dinner was a performance. I just didn't know the script. Margot asked questions that weren't really questions. Where did I grow up? What did my parents do? Did I plan to keep working after marriage? Every answer became evidence. Confident. Too ambitious. Humble. Insecure. Laughed. Trying too hard. Spencer sat beside me, squeezing my hand under the table. I needed him to speak out loud. He didn't. On the drive home, "Does your mother hate me?" Spencer stared at the road. "She doesn't hate you. She just has standards. Standards you can't meet if you weren't born into them." When Spencer proposed, I was genuinely happy. For 1 minute, I believed love would outrank Margot's control. A week later, Margot invited me to discuss logistics. She slid a prenup across the table. I understood prenups. But Margot didn't treat it like protection. She treated it like proof I wasn't family. Spencer sat there. Didn't argue. Didn't even look at me long enough to be brave. I signed anyway. Because I still believed marriage meant he'd finally choose me. Spencer wasn't cruel. That's what made it confusing. He didn't insult me. Didn't cheat. He just didn't protect me. He worked long hours. Avoided conflict. Let Margot help with everything. She replaced my kitchen because my taste was too youthful. Changed our towels. Critiqued my groceries. Whole milk. Samara. Cholesterol. Every holiday was a test I didn't know I was taking. Oh, Samara, you're so grounded. It must be hard coming from such a simple background. You're doing your best. Spencer would squeeze my knee. Later, she didn't mean it. And I'd think, then what does she mean when she speaks? The worst part, it changed me. I started editing myself before I even opened my mouth. My own home stopped feeling like mine. Then 3 years in, I got pregnant. Margot invited me for tea. Weekday afternoon. No witnesses. The room was bright and cold. Like no one had ever cried there. Margot didn't say congratulations. She said, we need to fix this before it becomes public. Fix what? The situation. Spencer isn't ready. Frankly, neither are you. My hands went cold. I'm his wife. Margot smiled gently. You're temporary, Samara. Don't confuse a signature with security. She slid an envelope across the table. A check with more zeros than I'd ever seen. Papers. A settlement agreement. A non-disclosure. A clean exit. I can be generous if you do the sensible thing. You want me to leave. I want you to be realistic. A baby would complicate Spencer's life. A baby is part of life. In your world, perhaps. And if I don't? Her eyes didn't change, but the air did. If you don't, you'll walk away with nothing. And you'll still lose. That night, I told Spencer I was pregnant. For one breath, something flickered in his face. Shock. Joy. Then I told him what his mother did. I waited for him to explode. To finally choose me. Spencer rubbed his forehead. Maybe she's just trying to protect me. Protect him. From his own child. From me. That sentence clarified everything. 2 weeks later, divorce papers arrived through attorneys. Spencer didn't call. Didn't come. Didn't fight. Before my 3rd trimester, I moved to a small mountain town where no one knew the Pierce name. I gave birth in a county hospital with a nurse who squeezed my hand and said, "Honey, you're going to be okay." I named my daughter Ruby. Because I needed something in my life that grew without permission. The first year was survival. Diapers. Night feeds. Coffee that tasted like regret. I freelanced from a laptop on my knees. Copywriting. Social media. Anything that paid fast. There were nights I cried into a towel so I wouldn't wake Ruby. And then I got good. Really good. I stopped writing cute captions and started building strategies. Made small businesses look like brands. Turns out when you've spent 3 years reading A Room for Danger, you get excellent at reading audiences. By the time Ruby was 3, I moved back to Charlotte. Not to chase ghosts. Because business was there. I rented an office. Hired Lauren. Built a small agency. Ruby grew into a tiny person with glitter shoes and blonde honesty. At 5, she could negotiate for dessert like a lawyer. So when the Pierce invitation arrived, I didn't panic. I thought, Margot really believes I'm still the woman she broke. I told Ruby we were going to a party. Will there be cake? There will be cake. The night before the wedding, I laid out our outfits. Mine, deep emerald. Tailored. Clean lines. Not flashy. Just undeniable. Ruby's matched. Mommy, why are we dressing fancy? I brushed hair off her forehead. Because sometimes people need to see you standing up. She pointed at her shoe shelf. Glitter shoes. Absolutely. We'll be polite. Aggressively. Saturday arrived. The Pierce estate. White chairs. Flowers everywhere. String quartet playing Expensive Sadness. We walked in. Ruby's hand in mine. The coordinator rushed up. Hi. Welcome. Name? Samara Watson. Her fingers flew over the tablet. Her smile glitched. Oh. Yes. You're here. Table 17. I leaned toward the seating chart. Table 17 was near the kitchen doors. Close enough to the restroom to hear the hand dryer. Classic Margot. Ruby looked up. Where do we sit? With family, I said. Family seating is reserved. Correct. And I walked past her. I took Ruby straight to the front row. Little plaques read, Pierce family. I sat down like it was the most natural thing in the world. The air changed. Heads turned. Whispers started. Margot stood near the archway in navy silk and pearls. Smiles set like dried paint. The moment she saw Ruby, her mouth opened. Then closed. She inhaled sharply. Spencer stood with groomsmen, laughing. He looked over. His smile died. Because Ruby has his eyes. Storm gray with one small golden fleck in the right iris. I knew that fleck. Margot knew it. Then an older man pushed through the crowd. Douglas Pierce. Spencer's uncle. Retired genetics professor. He stopped in front of Ruby. Softened his voice. Hello, sweetheart. What's your name? Ruby. Douglas's eyes flicked to mine. Samara. I nodded. He crouched. May I see your eyes up close? Ruby leaned forward. 5 and fearless. Douglas turned on his phone flashlight. Margot hissed. Douglas, don't you dare. Douglas ignored her. He studied Ruby's eye for 2 seconds. Then straightened. Loud enough for half the wedding to hear. Well, that's the Pierce fleck. Silence. Someone laughed nervously. Someone gasped. Douglas continued. Conversational. Casually terrifying. Rare trait. Spencer has it. His father had it. I have it. He gestured toward Ruby. And now she does too. Margot went pale. Spencer looked like his brain was rebooting. And then the bride appeared. Elizabeth Fletcher stepped up in her gown. Perfect veil. Perfect smile. Until she saw Ruby. Spencer's face. Margot's panic. Beth stared at Ruby. Then at Spencer. Spencer. Who is that child? Spencer opened his mouth. No sound came out. Beth's eyes sharpened. Did you know? Spencer swallowed. No. I didn't. Margot stepped forward. Elizabeth, sweetheart, this is obviously. Beth turned to her slowly. You invited her. Excuse me. You invited Samara. You put her on the list. You brought her here. Margot tried to smile. We wanted to be gracious. Beth laughed once. Short and ugly. So your Grace is inviting your son's ex-wife to watch him marry someone else while he has a 5-year-old daughter he never mentioned? Beth's father surged forward. Grabbed Spencer by the lapels. You have got to be kidding me. Phones rose like a wave. Margot reached for Beth's arm. Let's go inside. Let's not do this here. Beth yanked away. No. You wanted an audience. Congratulations. Then she looked at me. She wasn't angry at me. She was furious at the lie. She lifted her veil off. Let it drop onto the grass. I'm done. And she walked away. Down the aisle. Alone. Spencer didn't follow. He couldn't move. Margot stood frozen. I leaned down to Ruby. Do you still want cake? Ruby nodded. Yes. Okay. We'll get cake somewhere else. I took her hand and walked out. No yelling. No speech. Just truth. By Monday, the video was everywhere. TikTok clips. Instagram stories. Facebook groups hitting refresh. I didn't post. Didn't comment. I had a business to run and a child who needed routine. Then Wednesday, Lauren walked in holding papers. You've been served. A petition to establish paternity and request custody. They claimed I'd hidden Ruby. Alienated Spencer. I called my attorney, Matthew. Do you have documentation? I pulled out a red folder. 2 years worth. Good. Then we respond. Family court is fluorescent lights and people trying to sound reasonable while actively plotting. Spencer sat with his lawyer. Looking exhausted. Margot sat beside him like a general. Their attorney opened with the money speech. Stability. Resources. Then the accusation. I withheld the child. Matthew didn't argue emotionally. He argued structurally. First, sworn declarations from former household staff, people who watched Margot up close. Housekeepers. A driver. A nanny. Employees who were there. Who heard the words. Margot's mouth hardened. Then public records. A second mortgage. Debt. A line of credit. Not because debt makes you a bad parent, but because it made Margot's motives obvious. Then the third document. A trust, created by Spencer's late father, for future grandchildren. Distributions coordinated through the child's primary residential parent. Margot didn't want Ruby because she suddenly discovered grandma tenderness. She wanted Ruby because Ruby was leverage. The judge barely looked up. We'll need a DNA test and temporary orders. Spencer's lawyer wanted weekends immediately. Matthew said, no. Ruby doesn't know him. We're not treating her like a suitcase. The plan landed where sane plans usually land. DNA test. Supervised visits to start. A step-up plan. And Spencer was ordered not to allow Margot any contact with Ruby during his time unless we agreed in writing. Margot stared like she'd been told gravity was mandatory. The lab looked like every medical office in America. Ruby thought it was hilarious. They're taking my spit. Yes. Science. I'm a scientist, she declared. Spencer stood nearby. Tense. When the results came back, no one was shocked. Paternity confirmed. Spencer's first visit happened at a supervised family center. He showed up with a stuffed bunny and the expression of a man who realized he missed 5 years he can't buy back. Ruby looked at him. Are you my dad? Spencer froze. Nodded. Eyes wet. Yes. She considered that. Okay. Do you like pancakes? He let out a shaky laugh. I do. Good, Ruby said. Pancakes are important. Just like that, she gave him a doorway. Margot wasn't there. Wasn't allowed. A few weeks in, Spencer asked to talk. Matthew said, public place. Short. No drama. We met at a busy coffee shop. Spencer looked nervous. I want to understand. Now you want to understand. He swallowed. I didn't know you went through with the pregnancy. My mother told me you handled it. You knew I was pregnant. You didn't try to know what happened after. He rubbed his hands. My mother said you'd disappear. With the money. And you believed her. He flinched. I'm sorry. I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to protect Ruby. I want to be her dad. You don't get to be her dad because you want it. You get to be her dad if you show up. Consistently. Without your mother. Spencer's jaw tightened. Then he nodded. I can do that. I didn't believe him yet. But Ruby deserved the chance. Margot tried to creep back in. A bouquet sent to my office. For Ruby. From Grandma Margot. I returned it unopened. Then a settlement offer with NDA language. Matthew replied with one word, no. Then the social pressure. People calling. Margot is just emotional. She's a grandmother. I listened. If she wants a relationship, she can respect the court order. Then hung up. Because women like Margot expect people to fold. But I'm not 25 anymore. I'm a mother. And motherhood teaches you, politeness is optional when your child is involved. Spencer didn't get his perfect wedding. Beth didn't get a perfect husband. Margot didn't get her perfect narrative. And I didn't get revenge in the movie trailer way. I didn't scream. Didn't throw wine. I just showed up with the truth. The court gave me primary custody. Spencer got structured parenting time that expanded as Ruby got comfortable. Margot got limits. Spencer is still learning. Some days he's awkward. Some days he's trying so hard it's almost painful. But he shows up. And Ruby, glitter shoes, strong opinions, tiny lawyer energy, comes home and tells me, Dad makes heart pancakes, but they look like blobs. Then adds, serious, don't laugh. He's trying. That's when I know Ruby is going to be okay. Because she has something I didn't have. A mother who won't let anyone erase her. So when I think about that invitation, gold foil, perfumed paper, that smug little card, I don't feel hurt. I feel amused. Margot tried to humiliate me as a discarded mistake. Instead, she introduced her entire world to the one truth she spent 5 years trying to bury. Funny how that works. So tell me, if you were me, would you have stayed home? Or would you have shown up, held your kid's hand, and let the truth do the talking? Thanks for listening, and if you like this story, don't forget to comment and subscribe for more stories about standing up when someone tries to write you off. Sometimes the best response to cruelty isn't revenge, it's just showing up as exactly who you are.